Anyone who haven't got those tablets yet? No? Right? How's it sinking, right? Those exercises we're going? Okay. Are you sure? All right. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, I've been have a very long session yesterday, and I felt a little bit kind of exhausted, okay, after those sessions, after 6 hour session with our friends, okay, and do some consultation after that, okay, regarding to those regarding to our what we call our projects, okay, our assignments, okay, which is I've been basically update with our Google Classrooms over here, okay. If you look closely back again, which is I actually have been stated in our first kind of what we call that brief here, okay, which is okay, this project which is going to be in 20% of marks there, okay, 20%. Another two projects are going to be another 20 and 20, okay. We got around 40%, okay, to complete for our the whole kind of what we call that assignments there, okay. But if you need to understand one thing, okay. The project that I've been working on with you guys, okay, basically, okay, even though we put it as a part of an assignment, okay, but it's a part of the progressions kind of works there. Progressive kind of works, okay, progressions there, okay. That means I want to see your, what we call that, your kind of, how actually you progressively change the way you draw, the way you develop your kind of understanding, okay. Okay, to develop, to create or to design or to draw, okay, and to illustrate your kind of design works there, okay, your artworks there basically. So that's basically one of the most important thing that you have to understand there, okay. And of course, okay, I've been talking also to some of the students about some of the questions that actually have been basically been raised there, okay. Thank you very much for some of you guys basically who actually have been raised these questions there, okay, about, okay, the main kind of what we call the title that we have there, okay, the character design there, okay. So people look into that character design more into the figure drawings there, okay, figure kind of human figure kind of drawings there. So of course, okay, when they talk about character design, a lot of people feel a little bit kind of excited about they can design their own characters, whatever they want, okay. But the main objective of our purpose when we come to develop these kind of projects, you have to understand one thing there, okay. It's all about to develop, okay, to figure out how to redraw using digital tools, okay, one there, okay, simple, right, okay, figure out how to draw using digital tools, okay, and in order to develop your understanding and improving your drawing and illustration skills. That's the main objective there, all right. I have a few number kind of students who actually show me some of the progressions there, very good progressions, even though they made a lot of mistakes from there, and some of them haven't done yet, but they asked the questions there, okay. And I did basically what we call that, acknowledge them back again, the purpose why you should actually develop this kind of what we call it projects, okay, that we call assignments. Like some of you guys say, I don't like to call it assignment because you're going to made it as a part of your assignments, not of your progressions or developing your skills there. Because I don't like the student basically, right? I really doesn't like the ideas there, okay? When students develop or create or proceed for their assignments, they just do it for the purpose to submit their works there. Okay, they complete the works, they close the books, and then nothing happens from there, okay? So whatever that they're going to get those marks, okay, they're going to be leaving over there. But the problem is when they fail the assignments or the projects itself, okay, they ask the question back again, why I failed them, okay? Why I failed them, okay? You don't put yourself in the purpose why you should actually develop that kind of assignments there. Not because of you have to submit according to the deadlines only there, right, okay? But you need to understand why basically you start to doing these projects there. Why basically you want to learn about multimedia, for example, okay, in a more wider kind of perspective there, okay? Because it's a part of developing your design skills. Your design skills that you develop your design skill from here, okay? One of the core kind of elements that you need to develop your design skills by learning illustrations and develop your drawing skills, okay? But of course, okay, in these 7 weeks of period of time, we cannot actually write, okay, we cannot actually write, wrap up, okay, the whole thing there, okay, that everyone will have an equal kind of skills there. Okay, the only thing that can be seen, the difference between individual kind of skill that based from what they've been developed there, right? Okay, being developed there, not just by saying, okay, oh, I can draw my own character design, but I don't care about whether it's correct or not there, right? Okay, especially in terms of the perspective, proportions there, alignments there, balance there, right? Okay, and how you move your drawing stroke at the same time, and how you shade and control the pressures there. That's the most important thing that you have to figure it out there first. And I know basically it's not that easy for some of you guys who have a zero knowledge. I call it zero knowledge because maybe you haven't actually practiced this kind of craft before. Okay, some of us there, okay, that you just started to learn about how to draw them. You begin to show some interest, or sometimes you have to force yourself to do something that you don't like from these 7 weeks of time there, right? Okay, normally there, okay, this is normal thing happens with a lot of people there. Okay, so you know basically who you are basically right now, but what I want you guys to realize, the purpose why you're here. All right, so you need to develop that design skills there. No matter how good or bad you are, understand first the purpose why you should learn that, right? Okay, and I basically try to develop basically that kind of purpose, okay, from these 7 weeks there. That's why I did not actually write, push a little bit more further to gather a lot of information first there, okay, but I give you guys some examples, some sort of like samples, some sort of what we call that reference, and of course, okay, some explanations and demonstrations there, why you should actually develop, why you should actually try to develop the kind of skills, okay, and what kind of basically the right kind of methods that you guys should pursue it first before you're going to develop a bit more further there, okay, because this is only first semester that you got around 4 or 5 semesters more there, okay, to develop the skills there. In order for you guys to mix them up, all the informations, all the knowledge, all the experience there, using application, app, software, and technical stuff there, okay, and also some theoretical on your design kind of language there, right? Your kind of what we call that, your core, your roots has to be strong there first. So illustration is a part of developing that kind of roots there. You put the seed on those soil there, okay, and then you pour basically those water inside there, okay, and then you nurture them and you let it grow. So when you want to let it grow, right, okay, the roots that actually, right, have a core kind of strengthen to your tree there, right, okay, basically to your plant there, basically is a part of those illustrations there. So the knowledge that you bring from there, because that's why we have another 1 semesters on illustrations. When it comes to animations, okay, 2D animation that you guys are going to learn on a week on semester 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken there, okay, you're going to develop basically a character design back again. But without a very strong core understanding to develop your skills, you won't be able to develop that, okay? Year 2, Sem 1 for animation, is it? All right. Year 2, Sem 1 there, okay? Yeah. I always put it into those semesters there, all right? Year 2, Sem 1, that mean semester 3 or 4 there, okay? I can't remember there, okay? Because sometimes I've been taking those kind of subjects. Sometimes Miss Vivian basically are going to be, Mrs. Vivian is going to be handle those projects, okay? But we are going to talk into the same language there, which is we need to see the student can grow basically their confidence when they develop the skills there, right? Okay. All right, Zenkai. All right, thank you very much there. All right, guys, I've been upload, okay, all those 5 tutorials, which is from my lecture and also my practical class, okay, since week Monday and yesterday there, okay. You guys can take a look back again, all those kind of what we call that demonstrations. You guys just keep some of the things that you don't like to see there, okay. But I will share basically some of my old sketchbooks, okay, from one of the videos there, okay, which is you can see basically how actually I developed the skill for over the years there, okay. So since I was like your age until now, they basically, you guys can see basically the chronology of my kind of developments there. So one thing for sure, I always practice myself. Those are the things there. So what I felt good about what we call that teaching the right way, I can actually practice some of the methods that I always I have actually have been what we call that been losing it for a while, okay? Uh, because of I'm doing some of the stuff basically that related to a little bit more simplified kind of things there, okay? So that's why you need basically all these kind of foundations first. Later on, when you actually felt that your skills, your drawings, your illustrations, your knowledge or your experience, your confidence will be kind of uh, what we call that stuck a little bit there, okay? You can go back into all this foundation kind of exercise to develop back again your skills, and then you can actually grow back in your kind of ideas, okay, according to those confidence there. Designs is all about confidence, guys. If you feel good about what you do there, okay, you feel strong and good about the ideas that you're going to develop from there, they're going to be fluid a bit more better than you can actually imagine there, okay? Those are the things there. And what I want you guys to stress about is all about this one, okay? Check back again with our main objective of our projects over here. All right, it's a simple kind of objective there, okay? You look into yourself back again, the purpose why you actually develop this kind of drawings. That's why I give you guys, okay, this 6 reference, which is a very good reference there, okay? Then you can develop from there. I saw some of the students try to develop a bit more better kind of development from there. They try to challenge them back to develop based on the reference, based on the post, but they kind of develop their own kind of way of working there, which is if you have that kind of confidence there and understanding to develop your skill from there, I'm okay with it. All right, I'm just going to take a look some of the elements like some of the features, like if you actually have the wrong way of developing those kind of line or strokes there, okay, you feel like you just trace them without drawing on top of the layers using the right kind of what we call that quality of line. All right, okay, and how actually you control your pressures there, okay, those are the things I'm going to take a look more further from there, okay. But if you have that kind of confidence to develop that kind of understandings, I'm good with it. But the problem is for some of us basically who thought basically they can do it more than that, but they don't understand why they should do this, right? Okay. For example, I have one of the sample from the student basically, right? Okay. When they start basically draw the subject matters there basically, okay, one of the main kind of reason why we actually develop basically that kind of drawings there, okay, because we want to study back again the structures itself, right? But if you seems that you don't have that kind of ability yet, right, okay, even though I have shown you guys how it works there, but you still cannot understand how to develop that kind of person, become, for example, like he want to draw someone basically directly that have that, for example, let me check directly. It show basically a naked kind of poses of that kind of samples, like of that reference. Okay, for example, like it is one there. Okay? Let's just say you want to draw this person. Okay, you want to draw this person there. Okay. The thing is, right now, you want to draw this person become a bit more like his own character design. But the point is, right now, when he want to draw them, okay, he just basically draw the outline there, okay, like this one, okay. First of all, the techniques that you draw there, okay, and suddenly he draw like this one there, okay. Can you see the wrong kind of techniques that he tried to produce over here? Okay. But he's a very good student there. I actually, okay, can see when I actually push a bit more further on my sessions there, okay, he start to develop a bit more understanding there, okay, back again. Sometimes we have to give a wake-up call for some people there, okay. So he tried to draw like this one, okay, naked person like this one, and then he want to wrap up with some of the elements that he want to draw, okay. What I want to say there, okay, if you don't understand how to develop that kind of imaginative kind of drawings here, first, don't try to draw them yet, okay. It is better for you to find some of the reference like this, right? reference like this. It's not a porn pictures there, okay? Reference like this there, okay? And you start to develop and study basically according to what we actually have suggest to you guys, okay? From constructive line there, okay? Like this one, okay? Develop the constructive line, okay? To develop your skill back again, okay? And then you add some shadings and shadows there, all right? Based on the soft brushes that I actually have introduced to you guys there before, all right? Control the pressures, the size at the same time to work on that, and focus on the shadows and light there, right, from there, and develop the kind of sketch line drawings combined with contour line drawing at the same time there, all right? So if you want to compare the quality of line that you produce and mine, you wash back again, observe back again, this type of drawings. I'm going to put it in our, what we call that, in our, what we call that, Google Classroom there, right, okay, guys? So Google Classroom there, okay? We're going to put them back again there, right? But I did basically demonstrate how actually it works in one of my videos yesterday. I get to work on that. It's better for you to study, find some of the reference, right? For example, okay, but it's basically, this is basically an extra kind of works there, okay? If you're really concerned about your kind of skills, okay, get some of the informations, okay, on the Googles there and try to redraw back again, all right? So if you want to study a real subject matters there, okay, naked people, whatever that you want to draw, okay, basically in drawing studies, we have that kind of, what we call that, one of the exercise there, okay? But I didn't put basically in our lessons because we have to cover some of the different things there, okay? Especially, okay, we don't have to draw naked people there, okay? But I give some of the lessons for dry media before that, okay? But I chose some of the pictures that's basically is related, is the same kind of reference. Most of it is same as reference that we have right here, right now, but a little bit kind of different a bit there, okay? So you guys can still learn to develop a skill from there. But what I can suggest for you guys, if you want to draw something like this, okay? Basic structure, for example. One of the best thing to draw that, okay? You can draw the basic structures basically, not only from this constructive line there, okay? But you can actually study the constructive line that based on this cloth, like on this dress that's at the same time there, right? You guys can study from here there, okay? The constructive line over here. That actually, construct basically this dress. It can be there, guys, right? Okay? As long as you develop that kind of understanding from here, right? This one basically the structures line, all right? It divide into what we call that, different kind of alignments. Okay, the shoulders are going to be right here a little bit there, right? And then you start to develop the kind of structures for those shoulders, okay? The neck itself there, right? And then basically, okay, this is the line of actions there. And some people, okay, when they try to draw, okay, women kind of chest, boobs, or man there, okay, they cannot figure out how the shape's going to be look like. You guys can see, obviously, okay, this is basically the shapes of it there, okay? You need to understand that you have to develop that, okay? So from here, basically, they're going to be a cylinders kind of shapes, all right? They define basically this part over here, there. So all this kind of understanding when you draw them there, okay, and develop that kind of skills there in order to, what we call that, control your pressure at the same time here, right? Are going to be beneficial for you rather than you just simply want to draw someone that you don't know there, okay, based on some of the characters that you like there, okay. Sometimes there, okay. I'm not saying it's wrong, but you need to understand your kind of purpose difference. Okay. Some of the students, they say, okay, they want to draw this one, become a pirate, for example, okay. They actually, what we call that, download basically one of the pictures, okay, of the pirate women there, okay, and then start to change this person become a pirate, okay. What I did basically for our projects over here, okay, what I did basically there, okay, even though I play with my imaginations, but I put only around 10-20% only of my kind of developments there, of my drawings, into that particular kind of purpose there, okay. I'm not imagining the whole thing there, okay. What I basically focus is how actually to construct and develop the strokes and line for my illustration drawings. That's basically what I do basically, okay. If you check, look right here, right now, okay, this is something that I did for my demonstrations there before, okay, and yesterday I tried to complete a little bit, okay. But if you check, look closely, okay, this kind of what we call the illustrations, which is, you can see I apply a little bit kind of imaginations kind of what we call the element from there, because based from the actual reference, no horns, no spike kind of hair, no pointed kind of ears, no what we call that what we call a pointed kind of nose, just like what we call that a gull, or what we call that some creatures there, right? Okay? And no, basically the spike of what we call that teeth there, right? Okay? But I added minimal kind of changes, uh, even though the brace, the what we call that the wrist kind of brace there, okay, kind of what we call that grips over here, the sword itself there, okay, I redesigned a little bit there, but not the whole things, okay, to develop a little bit kind of imaginative, I mean, interest kind of what we call the exercise, okay, for my illustrations there, okay, for my develop my creativities from there. But I didn't actually focus too much from there. A lot of people I saw that, okay, that actually doesn't have that kind of ability yet. They try to change the whole thing. But the thing is, right now, the problem is when I ask the question, what do you learn from that particular kind of illustration that you try to pull right now, okay? Do you learn something from there? What do you learn there, right? Okay? Did you develop some progressive kind of improvement from there? You know what the answer from that? He said to me, nothing, sir. If there is nothing that you can actually improve from there, you find out that you make it into more worse kind of results. Why you have to pull that, right? You have to be more realistic, then, guys. I know basically sometimes we make decisions that are a bit more imaginative from what we actually logically we can actually achieve there, okay? We don't actually look into more practicality on what we're going to do there, okay? Normal there happens from there, but you must have the clear idea. If you have a tight kind of deadline, for example, and you have to be a little bit kind of logic and practical, because the skill that you develop from here, which basically the level that you actually want to achieve first, right? Because you have a lot of longer years there, okay, or more than one semester, you can develop all these kind of information there. And of course, if you're eager enough to work on your stuff and your thing there, right, just do whatever that I've been doing basically when I was like your age, okay? I will develop my own personal projects every single night, all right? Every single night, okay? On top of working with the assignments, okay, in the daytimes, and then midnight when I have more time there, okay, I would spend 11 p.m. until 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning there, okay, midnight morning there, okay. I will done my own projects there, okay. If I don't complete them at that night, then I'm going to continue another night there, okay. Simple there, okay. You can actually delegate your time from there, and then put into your Instagram, put into your social media there, okay. By the end of our sessions for the week 14, you guys can actually give some of the presentation also, okay. So this is something that I did for basically my own in my own channel, okay. So simple as that, right? Okay? So you can actually delegate those time from there. But the thing is how we actually develop the purpose in every single kind of projects there. That's basically the main kind of purpose of how I actually go to work on that. Because I didn't actually want to what we call that throw you guys, okay, with a lot of complex kind of information there, okay, complicated kind of methods and techniques, then you cannot actually what we call that digest and also plan it really well from there, okay. Because I saw some of the students during the process of what we call that demonstrations, that he tried to experiment one single drawings or one single illustration like this, okay, with multiple kind of styles there, okay, and they end up there, okay, the quality of the results doesn't actually have the right kind of direction and purpose there. they kind of rojak, but they don't serve basically the purpose to develop the kind of continuities, what we call that harmonize the whole presentation. They don't harmonize that, okay? They don't actually click together there, okay? Because they feel like those kind of drawings, we will feel a little bit kind of like lost a little bit there, right? Okay? Directions there. So we don't want to do those kind of things there, okay? So learn carefully, work carefully, and think while you draw, and what type of what we call that styles or techniques that you want to apply from there. At the moments, I introduce you guys, okay, contour line drawings, gestures line drawings there, okay, sketch line drawings there, right, okay, and of course, okay, I try to combine some of the mixtures kind of what we call that techniques, okay, on the stroke itself, okay, in order to develop the skills there. But in illustrations, it doesn't mean that we have to draw everything inside our reference there, okay. For example, right now, if you look closely there, right, I did not draw all this kind of detail that we saw from our reference. Okay, I try to make a little bit kind of loose a little bit because it's not important basically for me to add. Okay, but if you think that you want to study them, go ahead there. Okay, all the thing that we're going to draw is a part of our studies. That you have to remember that it's not just we simply draw them without any purpose there. You have to understand why you should draw them, all right? So right now, if you check a look closely there, right? So when I actually start to develop, okay, for some of you guys who did not basically had the right kind of methods and techniques that to work with your illustrations, I would suggest for you to start with the contour line drawings over here. Okay, the contour line drawings here. Okay? I start with the contour line drawings over here. But those contour line drawings that actually can serve the purpose of our assignments or our projects over here will lead into a more kind of quality of line that we want. This is basically for those who really have the hard time to develop the sketch line drawings. Some people don't realize them. They thought they can draw well there. But when they actually start to develop their own way of working, most of the drawing lines is basically look bad there, right? Okay? I have to say bad because you have to basically, right, okay, face your own realities from here there, right? If you cannot draw in the right way using your own methods and techniques, you have to admit them. Then watch carefully how actually I draw them from my previous videos there and apply them back. Most of the common mistake that people do, they don't actually write. They don't actually overcome their own fear when they actually start to draw. All right? Those are the most common thing happens there, okay? When you start to draw something there, okay, from your reference like this one there, right? Most of the common mistake that people do, okay, either they use any kind of brushes there, okay, like ink brushes or pencil brushes, they start to draw something like this, right? They're afraid to move there, okay, in the right way. Sometimes, okay, they don't actually understand the shape itself, okay. Because why? Because you don't look carefully while you draw. The purpose what we do this kind of exercise not by tracing there. You learn to observe things back again in the right way. Then you practice your hands to work on that. Right? You practice your hands to develop those skills from there. I have some of the questions that they told, okay, so why actually you teach us to trace only there, right? Okay, did I actually teach you guys how to draw the basic structures there? I'm teaching there, right? But I try to improvise basically our methods because we have the online sessions there. If we basically have a face-to-face sessions in our studios there, right? I will not basically allow you to draw on top of the layers there. I will give you guys more exercise. Normally the exercise that I'm not giving, okay, is going to be 10, 15 to 20 weekly exercise that you have to complete. Why we have to do a lot of exercise? Because we need to force you guys to draw more before you're going to develop your skills by using the right methods there. So the observations not are going to be on draw on top of it, but you have to draw from life there, right? Okay, either you can print the pictures. Normally I'm going to ask you guys to print the pictures, okay, clear pictures, for example, and then you draw back again, or you have to draw from life. All right, so they're basically a bit more harder for some people who cannot draw well, because they don't look at things in the right way there, right? So now we have that kind of opportunity, right, okay, to develop the skill using the technologies here right now. So why you have to go back into your old methods of working if you have that kind of advantage to enhance a bit more further there, right? A lot of people sometimes say, okay, how actually you want to draw more quicker, more faster there, okay? Frankly speaking, okay, all the shit that you saw from those YouTube or from some of the things that you saw, okay, some of them basically is for, most of them is basically for professionals. Most of it, all right? Most of it there. All right. For those who actually doesn't know how to move their hands in the right way to control their pressures, it will be hard for you to follow them. That's why I'm focusing on learn to develop those kind of understanding there, guys. Can you see how actually I move right now? My drawings over here. I look carefully to my subject matters there when I want to draw. Even though some of the areas that I will draw, I purposely draw in the, what we call that, in not correct way. Okay, this is basically one of the exercise that you guys can actually do it. Okay, some of the mistake that people do there, okay, that I saw yesterday, okay, you not actually complete your drawings and then you suddenly you draw in somewhere else there, okay. You should actually write, try to complete your drawings like this there first, okay. And right now, if you look closely there, okay, when I actually design this kind of illustrations over here, I try to complete my illustrations, all right, my drawings over here, and learn to develop my skill at the same time. You see that, right? Slowly move my hand and control the pressure at the same time. This is one other thing you can do. But if you think, oh, I don't want to trace, okay, fine. Why don't you draw back again? Okay, from this side there, right? Can you actually challenge yourself to do this kind of things over here? Using the same methods right now there, okay? I'm using the same methods there, guys. No matter how actually I'm going to start them, I'm using the same methods over here to develop basically my kind of understanding and observations at the same time there, see? We are not actually doing portrait, okay, but we develop our observation exercise based on the techniques that actually have been introduced to you guys over here. All right, the observation exercise techniques using the contour line drawings. Right? If you can actually conclude your kind of skills using these methods, okay, by controlling the stroke at the same times, right, you basically in the right kind of directions there. Okay? This is basically not only for those who cannot draw well there, okay? If you say to me, okay, I can draw better than this, that's it, okay, work on it. Because this is very good exercise there, guys. This is one of the good exercise to develop your skills there. Did I actually sketch out the basic structures here? Of course, basic structures is one of the technique that we have to learn also at the same time. But this is one of the foundations kind of drawings that give the newcomers, the newbies, the new student like you guys there, okay, who actually really want to develop your skills over here, to understand about how actually you're going to coordinate your eyes, your hands together. Those are the things. The objective of our, and the purpose, the objective in our exercise, okay? Understand that first. All right? And learn from progressively from one step at a time and draw every day. All right? Because this kind of exercise will have the zero kind of skills for some of you guys, developing more further understanding there. And at the same time, learn to control the pressures there, right? And if you think that you can do better than that, you take a look how actually I draw them right now. Different kind of strokes there, right? How I actually draw those eyebrows, how actually I draw the eyes there, right? How actually I draw those hair. I'm using 10 point of sizes there, okay? So this is basically also one of the methods there, right? That you guys can actually develop basically your skills of drawing and strokes at the same time. So how actually I work with this one there, okay? Okay, one of the things that I do that, okay, I press and release there. Press and release slowly there. Press and release there, okay? That's how it goes there. And of course, okay, in order to develop basically this kind of what we call that methods, technique, and styles of drawings there, right? Watch more on those comics there, okay? I watch and read a lot of comics there, okay? If I want to, when I want to develop this kind of drawing styles there. Press and release. Don't be afraid. Okay? A lot of people are afraid to move their hands there. But when I actually develop this kind of line works, you can see the quality of line works there. They're not going to be look like this one, right? Flat, right? This one, okay? Your drawing has to be, had that kind of quality of line over here. Multiple kind of quality of line, and I can etching a little bit more to control the pressures there. See? I didn't actually draw some weird kind of cross etchings, but I draw a directional kind of cross etching according to the muscles and structures, okay, from those reference there. See? Because you guys can see the different kind of strokes over here. Two different strokes, two different styles that you talk about. Not about manga, anime, whatsoever kind of style that you want to learn later on, right? You're going to develop later on. Drawing styles and strokes there. That's basically the purpose why you should develop the skills from this first project, okay? Because when you come to draw animals, and we're going to do a bit more intensive kind of work with those kind of structures of the human characters, and then we start to draw some of it. Because one of the reasons I do want to push a bit more further to draw those character structures yet, right? Because I saw a lot of people struggles to draw the strokes. I saw a lot of people there from your batch right now. To draw the contour line drawing strokes like this one also struggling enough there, okay? Then you want to learn more technical kind of stuff that will lead into no quality of drawing line there, right? Because I believe that, okay, those people who don't want to change, those people don't want to change, okay, you're going to end up later on still are going to draw, right, like this for the rest of your life. Trust me there. You will start to draw like this for the rest of your life. Draw circle, also you draw like this one, right? If you don't change right now, trust me there, okay? And you're going to bring these skills until your final semester. You draw without any purpose and understanding there. You don't develop that. Right? That's why we have this kind of exercise that we did last week there, okay? Control the structures there first. Basically, this is not basically some of the, what we call that, some escape kind of illustration styles or drawings method there, okay? But basically to give you guys some understanding how to construct the line and the structures, okay, a bit more confidence there. That's the purpose here, right? Not because you just want to draw those shapes, circles, or whatsoever there, okay? Like this one, for example, without any purpose there. You start to develop that kind of understanding while you develop this kind of strokes over here. That's basically that people don't understand. They thought, okay, they put their hands on those surface there, okay? Everything become magic there, okay? No, they're not going to be like that. You have to learn to coordinate your hands, your mind, and your eyes together. This is only 7 weeks of those exercises, guys. Okay, comparing to what you actually seen, what I've done there, okay? So comparing to the length and the years is very so far kind of developments there. But I'm still practice myself. I'm still improve myself there. I never say that I actually have reached basically there, okay, a kind of immunity, kind of what we call that, what we call that levels that known there. Okay? I always practice myself there. Okay. For those who actually say they actually have level up, okay, basically they will basically cheap talk over there. You can actually look at most of my friends who actually work also in the international kind of works. They never brag on themselves there, right? Those who brag basically, they basically have a cheap sales kind of what we call it words there, right? Okay? Those are the things there, right? So remember that, guys, okay? There's no easier path for you to develop your skills. Don't believe all this kind of bullshit that outside there, right? Okay? You know basically your level of skill, how actually you're going to work on that, and learn one step at a time. And of course, because if I don't actually believe in what I'm saying and work there, okay, I won't actually show you guys there. Okay, one of the things that made me what I am today and right now that I can teach you guys is all about those contour line drawings there. It's all about those line drawing exercise there, okay? Those foundations that develop my kind of what we call that concern, sensitivity, and also understanding there. Then I develop it more further from there, right? Because I never know basically, okay, at the time that, okay, if I want to learn something good about my kind of drawing skill and illustration, okay, I have to learn about observation there. When I actually start to develop that kind of understanding, I can see a lot of different kind of progressions there. I'm using less kind of erasers, and I never use erasers anymore unless I think when I actually draw manual kind of books, okay, I never use erasers anymore. I only use erasers, which I actually have shown you guys before, just to include basically some sort of I can show you guys, okay, one of the methods that I actually show you some of the students there. Okay, when I actually design, okay, this kind of what we call the illustrations over here, okay, I never actually try to develop basically the realistic of looks from here, okay, but okay, some of the things that I use erasers for these drawings, right, is basically this part there, right, okay, the ears part there, okay. I actually use basically some erasers, for example, the erasers here, just to erase some of the areas to add a bit kind of detailing for my kind of those ears there, okay, the shapes of the ears there. Those are the things that I do to add some sort of shapes for those ears there, not to erase my drawings there. Right? That's basically we're supposed to do. Sometimes, okay, when we use erasers like this one, okay, but we're using, let's just say pencil. If I can use pencil, right? Okay, if I cannot use them, maybe I use this one, right? Part round. It's sometimes even these erasers, okay, for what, smoothie, right? Want to add some sort of shadings there, okay? Shadings there. Some highlights sometimes there, right? If it's too much there, okay? I draw some highlights over here. For example, there, okay? Some highlights there. That's why we use erasers there, guys. We're not using erasers basically to erase our drawings there. But we want to add some highlights over here. That's basically what we do there, okay, for in our drawings there, right? We're not using erasers for erase our drawings there. We add some highlights from there. That's basically a technique of drawings in charcoal there, right? In animation, sometimes people will use erasers to erase some of the parts, right? Okay? Those are for animations there. But for drawings, normally for practicing our drawings, we rarely use erasers to erase our works, okay? That's basically those disciplines there because we want to develop those confidence at the same time. And in illustration, in this Photoshop kind of works there, okay? That's why we have the layering there, okay, to work on that. Okay, if you take a look right now, okay, I'm using different kind of, I'm actually applying different kind of what we call that elements, okay, to imagine a little bit, okay, the bracelet, the forehead kind of diamond kind of shape, okay, we have rubies from there, okay? And of course, okay, what else there? The scar there, okay? I add a minimal kind of imaginative kind of elements there. I did actually push a bit more further. Why? Because I'm going to focus and concentrate on my structures from this subject matter first. And then I'm going to add a bit more further from there. You guys can see, right? There's two different kind of styles of drawings that I actually put into this kind of what we call that demonstrations there. Right, like more etching kind of strokes, more like a comic styles there, okay? And of course, it's more a little bit more like a very natural kind of sketch kind of drawing, line and stroke there. But the thing is, right now, I never stress myself to design or to draw these subject matters into more realistic kind of looks. But naturally, while actually develop my kind of skills there, I try to develop how actually I draw those. Basically, the hairline, for example, there, okay. Let's just say, okay, if I want to draw those hairline there, okay, I try to develop the kind of strokes over here. Naturally, okay, those kind of what we call that drawings become a bit more like realistic there, okay, because of my kind of studies that I actually focus when I actually draw them. I did not basically draw this kind of purpose. Okay, I want to make more realistic. No, there, right? Okay, I didn't express myself at that. But when I focus on my illustrations, right? Okay, I focus on my kind of understanding to control the pressures and stroke at the same time. See right now, see there, right? I try to get some sort of like etching kind of technique for some of the shadows areas there, shadows areas from there. All right. So that's what makes my drawings look more pop up a little bit there, okay? Not because of those what we call that I want to copy the whole thing there, but I'm using some of the elements that I can use to develop basically my kind of understanding to draw those subject matters there. But I did not basically focus too much on those detailing there, okay? But the detailing will come naturally while actually draw those kind of strokes. At the same times, I learn a bit more further how to control my kind of line over here there, right? Okay, see? I didn't actually stress too much of how actually I'm going to draw this text here, right? Okay? How I should draw this one, right? If I want to draw them, yes, I draw them, okay? If I don't want to, I will not basically submit it there, okay? Those kind of detailing there. So you have basically your kind of what we call that decisions that, okay, you can make, okay, while basically you draw them here right now, okay? So same goes to this part over here, okay? Because normally, okay, if you have your kind of imaginations kind of rank, you can draw a lot of things from there. But I don't want to focus on that. Why? Because I don't want you guys to focus too much on your imaginative kind of works, rather than you focus on your drawings kind of methods that first. Because if you put a lot of what we call the responsibility in one particular kind of illustration drawings, while you're not basically ready enough to work on that, right? You will actually write what we call that you are going to basically waste a lot of times. Right? Waste a lot of time to figure out some of the things that you don't understand, right? That's why I did not basically want it for you to focus on that particular kind of stuff. But right now, basically, okay, you guys can see that, right? I'm combining some of the different kind of methods of line work, contour line a little bit from there, right? Because those kind of things will make your drawings a little bit more details there, right? But they actually have the quality of line that we want to see from your illustrations over here, all right? Yeah. And that's basically the purpose, okay? You can actually add a bit more further kind of understanding, draw this kind of line over here, right? Okay, study a little bit more, right? Okay, but you don't have to what we call it argue to yourself like, hey, how actually I'm going to draw this kind of details later, okay? The pattern itself, okay? Am I actually focus on the details right here? Even though we know basically, okay, this kind of reference have all these kind of patterns and details, but I didn't focus on that yet. Okay, I'm just focusing on a very simplified kind of shape, okay, because I know basically the purpose of development is not basically to draw as close at the reference there, but you can actually apply them according to what you need, using the reference as a part of your getaway to develop your kind of skills there. That's why I give you guys, okay, you guys can actually develop your character, but not focus too much from there. Understand what I mean there, right? Okay? Not focus too much, okay? Because by the end of the day, how you actually construct your line in the right way that first is matter. Why? Because if you take a look right now, okay, when I draw this kind of simple character, okay, based on the basic structures over here, the quality of line work that we need to produce from here is really important, okay? That's basically what you need to achieve each one of you guys when you develop your skills. Any questions? I give a long kind of brief. At the same time, I show a little bit right on your work, on those kind of works there. Any kind of questions? Did you actually look into what I've actually showed just now, okay, Christine? Okay, from all these what we call that demonstration that I did just now and explanations, did I answer your questions there? Last week kind of draft basically is a part of your developments to understand about the structures before you continue back again to draw them according to those references, right? Simple as that. All right. But you need to submit because right now when I saw that, okay, some of the submissions only 70 people actually have submitted them, right? 78 people had just submitted, okay? Another 66 people that doesn't submit yet, okay, those basic structures there. So we need to use that kind of reference to develop back again our drawings this week. Simple as that. You guys see that, okay? Learn from what you see. Okay, learn from what you see right now. Okay, you watch basically how actually I do that. Okay, just follow step back. Simple as that. Okay. Right. Do you understand? Okay, what I mean right now? Okay. Some minimal change for what? Okay. What kind of minimal change there, Atlia? Yeah, minimal change for the design if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. Right? But I know basically the teenagers kind of what we call that mindset, they want to do a bit more challenging there, okay? If you want to challenge yourself, try to make a bit more practical for you. Okay? More practical for you there, okay? I do a minimal kind of change only. I didn't actually push a bit more further from there. Because I know basically the time that I have, that what are the purpose that I want to do from there. Because if I want to make more maximum changes, I don't want to encourage some of the students who thought they can do the same thing, but they end up, their drawing strokes look lousy there, right? Okay, still look worse there, okay? It's not correctly they've been done there, okay? So I don't want you guys to have that kind of mindset there, okay? Oh, I want to draw more than like that, right? I want to draw robot, I want to draw this one, okay? But the level of skill that you have will not be prepare you to develop that kind of drawing that you feel short scenery only there, okay? For what? Okay, we're not actually doing all this kind of stuff for short only, and then you don't learn something from there. Remember what I said, okay? There's a few number kind of ask me, okay, can I draw this? Yes, if you have that kind of level of skill, you can do it, okay? But if you feel that you cannot actually do this kind of things yet, focus on your drawing skills there first. And draw from the reference, and then add some shadings and color there. Those are that you should actually learn first. All this kind of image, because what you guys have right now as a reference is a part of characters there. All right? All the reference that I give you guys basically is a character design. They actually pose as a part of characters right here. But you just need to transfer your knowledge, your understanding, your skill to draw them back. Simple as that. But if you want to develop a bit more further, ask yourself, again, is it worth it or not? You want to put some tails, right? Okay, for example, can you draw basically a right kind of tails from that? All right. If you can't basically, okay, don't push yourself, don't waste your times to do something that you don't know yet. Learn something that you have understand, okay, and then you can actually develop more further from there. For example, like this one, I want to draw some tails there, okay. One of the best way for you guys to do, okay, if you cannot imagine, you have to find a reference. Okay, one of the method that I can show you, because we have a lot of resources there. You have to use that resources to develop your kind of understanding there. Because back in the day, we don't have that kind of privilege, okay? For example, okay, I want to draw some tail, okay? Let's just say like dragon tail, right? For example, okay, dragon tails there. Right? So I will find some other reference that can give me more understanding other than those sketches that are like this one, okay? That actually can give me a bit kind of understanding there. Okay, what kind of dragon tail that I can use there, okay, to develop that kind of drawing there. For example, there, guys, huh? So what I will find some of the sample of tail that can be used, okay, through my illustrations. The dragons is a bit more like a lizard there, okay? So you need to have that kind of understanding there, okay? So at the same time, I try to find a bit more simple kind of design that can lead into my kind of purpose there, right? Okay. Maybe this one, okay, save yes first. Okay. And then what I can do from here, this is something that I can use for just like image manipulations subject there, right? Okay, I'm using basically those what we call that, these quick selection tools, inverse, copy them, right? Okay, and then paste right here. So what I can do right here, I'm going to put it this tail. If the shadows came from will fall to this side there, right? Okay, but there is a reflection of light came from here, so it doesn't. Is everything good from here there? Okay, put it the gradient map first. All right, I can rotate if I want to. Okay, and then I'm going to basically reduce the opacities. All right, reduce the opacity right here. Okay, take a look here, guys, how actually I developed it kind of what we call that kind of drawings over here there, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, all right, so I'm going to draw those kind of what we call that tail here. Just the size a little bit. Okay, so take a look how actually I draw them back here. So this is basically one of the techniques that nowadays that people can do using those technologies here. You must be able to understand also the shapes of those tails there, okay? And the line works that produced from here. This one basically has to be improved a little bit there, right? That's why, okay? Knowledge has to be important from here. Otherwise, you just trace them. I improvise the shape that I actually saw from here, all right, in order to develop my kind of dragon kind of tails there. I didn't actually focus on those kind of textures, all the thing, okay, because all this kind of thing will came over to those kind of knowledge there, okay, back again, bring over to your knowledge back again. If you know basically what you should do first, right, you don't worry too much on those kind of details yet. And of course, right, I can actually develop it more further right here, the tails there. Right, I didn't actually trace the whole thing, and sometimes I'm going to add a little bit kind of what we call that drawings, okay, a textures kind of drawings like these there, right, to indicate basically some suggestions that this is basically some tail that have a textures inside there, right, okay, or on top of it there, right, okay. So this is what we call the power of drawings there, right, okay, the line work itself there. Suggestions though, right? Not draw the whole details there. See? The tails there. And the line works that I produce will mixed up, harmonized with the original kind of strokes there. That's how it goes. Then when I paint the same thing there, right? When I want to paint them back, right? So I can actually do some selections back again. Okay, what I do selections over here, I do selections right here, there, okay? Selections based on the pictures over here, on the layers, all right? And I know basically this is a shadows line there, right? So what I'm going to do right now, okay? This part basically doesn't have any, what we call that, drawings, details. So I'm going to deselect these areas. I'm going to deselect also these areas there. Using alternate the right key, works on that. So right now what I can do, either I can actually do some selections over here because I actually have created basically, okay, a new kind of what we call that elements or shapes from there, right? So this part basically I can actually reduce back again the selections there according to the line works that I actually produced there, right? This is also one of the methods that we can use for illustrations there when we use those lasso tools. So there's a lot of way to use those lasso tools that you guys maybe have learned from what we call the image manipulations there, right? So I'm using those what we call that these methods that to work over here. Okay, check the selections back again. Some of the areas are a bit out from those line works there that I produced there, right? So deselect back again. So if I'm happy with it, maybe later on I can actually improve more further. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, right? Okay. Then I use the skin tone there first, okay? The skin tone over here, right? The skin tone may be a bit kind of like this one. Then what I can do for the shadows line, okay? This is the shadow liner, right? Okay? I can actually alternate backspace, see? Alternate backspace for the shadows line like here, right? But later on I can actually add some highlights on that, okay? What I can do from here, I have the skin tones over there. I know basically the shadow can fall off over here, okay? So as a reference, when you use those reference, when you have that kind of reference, right, where is it just now? The reference there is still there, right? Okay, before that, okay, I have to make a move of this kind of reference over here first. So I can actually start a bit more further here. All right, and then close this one. All right, do some selections over here. Right, can I do selections over here? Oops, yeah, cannot there, right? So what I can do there, right? Okay, I'm going to do some selections using magic wand. Okay, magic wand there, right? Magic wand there, right? Do some selections over here because I don't want to paint over here. I can just paint over here first, okay? Brush tools. I'm using soft rounded brushes there back again. First, adjust the flow. Okay, minimum there, okay? Minimal there, okay? And then I'm going to add some tone over there. Then I start to paint the core shadows there first. Even though sometimes okay, I'm using basically different layers that works there, okay? But I want to make sure that I can actually paint over here because there's a shadows right here, okay? But the core shadow came over here, right? So not press too much there, guys, okay? I didn't actually send it over right here, okay? I have to do some selections back again right here using shift and do some selections over here. Then both areas have been selected, right? Okay. So when I actually want to paint the okay, I'm going to add some shadows liner, okay? I'm going to slowly, okay, add some shadows, right? According to those reference there first. Slowly, a lot of people, they press too much on the shadows, right? Okay? And they cannot control basically the shadings, right? Okay? Anymore. Okay, the main kind of causes right now, I will never basically try to adapt, okay, the realistic kind of looks from here, okay. I try to add some of the shadows kind of details there first. slowly, right? To separate between the highlight and shadows at the same time there, right? Okay. So I'm going to add some highlights over here. And of course, highlight, I have to increase a bit on those, what we call that, the patterns over here, right? On the, what we call the shades over here, on the, then this one, okay, they also have the highlights over here. Okay? Some reflection slide that we call there, okay, from there, okay. There's a reflection slide also came to this side, to this side here, right? So create your awareness when you paint there, right? Okay? That's the thing, like, create your awareness, okay, when you look at your reference there. Don't just simply paint it, okay, without looking at the reference all the time. And I can actually work a bit more further on those details there, right? Adjust the size at the same time there, right? So the textures will came over to your, what we call that, to those detailings, okay? What we call that naturally while you actually develop them. Okay, ultimate pencil, what we can do with ultimate pencil, right? We're going to create some textures, right? Okay, illusion of those textures there. I can actually write using this kind of patterns there, okay? This kind of brushes to create some illusion of those patterns there. First, there, right? Too much there, okay? On the shadows, I can reduce the opacities and the flows basically there, right? Back again. Slowly, you are okay, painting up those shadows there. Right, slowly work on that. It's not how realistic that it can be there, okay, but logically that you guys can actually, right, see that the shadows kind of works from these illustrations there, okay? Because never achieve the perfections there, okay? A lot of people try to achieve perfections, they spoil the whole thing. Yes, they spoil the whole thing because sometimes the level of skill will not there, okay? You cannot actually achieve them first. You have to know your kind of understanding how you're actually going to adapt that kind of what we call that works, okay? That kind of details, that kind of what we call that skills there, okay? A lot of things matter there, guys, okay? Other than those perfections there, okay? Because that's why I didn't seek for those perfections a lot there, right? I never believed that, right? But all the things will came over naturally when you actually start to develop your understanding. Even though we know basically the tools that we can use, okay, some people actually try to use artificial kind of what we call that tools that can help them to achieve this kind of things there. I have also a lot of way basically to work with kind of details, okay? If I lazy enough to paint like this one, okay, one of the simplest way we can use basically there, right? Take a look here. Okay, well, can I actually write? I want to separate these areas there, so easy for me to work on that. Copy and paste. Separate those layers there, right? See, I separate them. So what I can do, okay, this is basically the tail. Okay, so what I can do from here, I know basically this one is a bit kind of advanced for some people there, okay? Okay, I have this kind of texture there, right, on this dragon from here. What I can do, I can erase some of the elements that I didn't use for this design. Okay. This part I didn't use that, right? This one also I didn't use that, right? So we're combining image manipulations kind of methods and techniques. It is illustration styles there. But this one basically I'm using a lot when it comes to our digital illustrations there, guys. This kind of methods there, right? Okay? This kind of techniques there. So what I can do from here, I bring over to the top like this one, let's see. Then I can actually write multiplied, right? Multiplied there. See, I can increase a little bit, then become realistic, right? And erase a bit over here. They become realistic, but this is basically doing only for some of the purpose, okay? It's not all the time that I to work on that. Because if you want to complete this kind of drawings later on, all right, You guys can use this kind of methods that works. Not to cheat there, right, okay, but one of the techniques that in illustrations there. Some people don't realize them, okay, because technologies nowadays, okay, can give you a lot of advantages to develop that kind of methods and techniques. This is all about techniques and technical kind of stuff, guys. Okay, but you need basically to realize, okay, how or when actually you're going to use them. And one of the things that I always love to do there, okay, from here, this is basically the tail, right? I will basically use a certain kind of what we call the detailings there, using like a drawings kind of methods over here, like I try to use these pastels there, right? It can actually works or not. To add a little bit kind of detail, because I want to make my drawings have that kind of a sense of what we call that, some like traditional kind of looks here. So I will basically give my kind of drawings a bit more like I have a traditional kind of look. That's why I will use this kind of tools there, okay, to work with it. Okay, you won't see basically, okay, if you don't actually take a look and have get exposed with a lot of drawing styles there, okay, because whatever that you have in mind normally, right, okay, you only have basically that anime kind of stuff inside your mind there, okay. That's kind of thing that happens in your normal kind of what we call that teenage kind of what we call that mindset normally, okay. You don't actually realize there's a beyond that you can actually work on that. So this is basically one of the techniques that we can apply, okay, if you want to apply some imagination kind of drawings, but it helps from the reference that you're going to do there, okay. You have to use a smart way to develop that kind of understanding from there. Not only purely imagination all the time there, okay. You have to combine that, your imaginative kind of visions, and also the tools that can bring over to your illustration look more alive there. That's basically what we can do. And of course, from here, if I want to make this kind of what we call that, this kind of subject matters a little bit kind of more like what we call that a dragon's kind of looks there, okay. What I can do here there, okay, I will basically draw these women, all right, these characters here, have a little bit kind of dragons kind of what we call that. The dragons kind of what we call that patterns there, right? So there has to be there, okay? So that's how actually you're going to develop basically some sort of understanding there, okay, on your own design there, right? Then you're actually going to create some patterns, some shadows, okay, towards to these kind of ideas there. It has to be. Otherwise, they're not going to be look harmonized there, okay, on your own design there, right? So we talk about imaginations, right? Imaginations basically, guys, okay, this is basically what you can actually apply there, okay, on your imaginations kind of ground there, okay. Then I'm going to add some sort of shadows there, some sort of selections over here, some selections over here first. Some selections over here a bit there, right? Some selections over here a bit there. Click shift there, okay, to add this kind of selections there first. And of course, from the shadows itself, brush tools, I'm going to use soft brushes over here, all right? And of course, okay, I'm going to reduce basically those flows for a while, and then adjust the size. I'm going to paint slowly there, right? Check look, right, okay? What can mix from here the first, right, okay? But it's actually going to be adapted correctly or not. All this kind of experimentation kind of works there, okay? It has come with also some knowledge there. Don't simply actually paint it up, okay, without having enough kind of knowledge that works on that. So you have to experiment, because experiment things, right? Okay, they need a lot of time there, guys. Okay, so you need a lot of time there to work on that. That's why I don't want to encourage you guys that to focus more on those, too much basically on those kind of what we call that experimenting, kind of what we call that design there, right? Okay, first there. Because it will take a lot of time for you to engage with your ideas from there. So you need more time to develop your understanding, okay? So focus on your main purpose there first, and then later on, we can actually develop slowly. You guys can develop slowly there, okay? From there. So that's it, okay? This is some of the things that we can actually share with you guys, okay? To get some sort of ideas there, okay? Small things that makes huge changes basically on our works there, okay? But you need to be more practical at the same time, okay, to work on that. Okay, guys? Questions? All right, any questions then? Christine Wenxing there, okay? Am I actually answer your questions? Am I answering your questions there?
Okay.
What is it okay? Am I answering your questions there, right? Okay. Any kind of inquiries there, guys, okay, about our assignments there, projects there, right? So remember, guys, okay, whatever they're going to do, be realistic there, right? Okay? Even though we work with imaginations kind of works there. Okay, be more realistic there, guys, okay? In order to make your concern about your skills at the time there, okay? Don't get confused there, okay? But it's okay to get confused there, okay? Because in illustrations, okay, there's a lot of options there that you guys can go there, okay? But I try to make your direction a bit more clear there, okay? What you should actually apply there first, okay? And I show you guys not by written there, only there. I show you guys by visuals there. I show you guys how it works there, right? So that's basically learn from observations there. So normally, okay, when people ask me, okay, one of the things, okay, when I show some of the videos okay, that I actually create from here, there is no sound. There is basically a sound, okay? I just mute the sound, okay? So I cannot hear the sound, okay? Guys, realize something. You don't have to listen to what I say if you learn visually, right? Because when I actually talk to you guys the same thing, okay, you still cannot actually memorize them. So try to learn from visually. Observations there back again. All right? Because I used to read and read a lot of comics, which is I don't understand what they basically have been what we call that written there, okay? Because I have a lot of Japanese, Chinese kind of comics there. But I didn't understand, okay, what is basically they're saying there, right? But I learn and enjoy reading them by read those visuals there. Read those visuals. I will show you guys later on, okay? I think some of the comic basically is outside there, okay? I don't have here, okay? But most of my comics, they're basically written by Chinese and Japanese, but I didn't understand what they're saying there. I don't know how to read them, right? But I understand them, enjoying them by looking at those visuals there, right? So we don't need basically to understand what are the things that we're going to learn by reading a lot. But of course, you have to read sometimes, okay? But watch how people do those kind of things there and learn from there and apply it back again from your kind of perspective and understanding there and improve more further from there. All right? Okay. All right, guys. Any questions there? You don't have any questions there? I want you guys to share some of the screen. Anyone want to share? Adina, you want to share some screen, okay, on your developments? All right. If you want to share some screen, okay, we have around half an hour there. You can share your screens. All right. What do you think there, right, Wenxin? You want to share your screen, how actually you develop those kind of works over here? I want you guys to send me the progressions by the end of our sessions, at least around 12:30 there, okay? What you have done with your kind of project one kind of developments there. Okay, from this week kind of progressions before we're going to submit them on Sunday there, okay? We have 6 drawings to complete. Don't try to imagine too much until you waste a lot of time from there, okay? All right, share your screen. Anyone want to share screen there, right? Christine, Alice, Wenshin, Zenkai, anyone there, right? Adelina, Artilia, Peiting, anyone there, okay? Just share your screen. Don't wait, okay, for your friend there, okay? Hurry up, guys. We have half an hour here. Anyone want to share screen here? Please do it so there, right? Hurry up, guys, okay? Anyone want to share screen over here, right? Don't let me ask you guys the same thing there, okay? All right, thank you, Alina, all right? I just want to show something, okay? You continue there, okay, Alina, okay? I just want to show one there, okay? If you think basically you cannot do it well there, okay, but you have your kind of hands, head all together there, okay? Take a look right here there. Right? This is one of the paralyzed kind of person who draw using his mouth there, right? Henry Fraser, okay, a paralyzed man living, okay? It had 4 shade, okay? A picture painting using his mouth there, okay? See? People who don't have that privilege there, right, okay? Still can draw better there, okay? So we need to be more grateful with what we have right now, right? If they can actually do it more better than you guys, okay? What makes you guys cannot do better than them, right? Because you have your kind of ability to work on that, to make some changes there. It's all about mindset there, right? Okay? It's all about mindset there, right? So now we try to see there, okay, how actually I did not sketch it out her ideas there, okay? This is basically some of the sketch line works to construct the foundations of your ideas before we're going to sketch out a little bit more details there. Why we actually have to train ourselves to sketch out like this to construct our idea there first, guys. She used basically some gestures line kind of strokes there, right? Gestures line drawings to work on that. That's the reason why we developed those kind of sketch line over here. Okay. Okay, guys, again, one of the reasons why we sketch like this is to develop our foundations there of our ideas, from our ideas here. Why we have to develop those sketch line drawings here, right? Okay, sketch line drawings here. To develop our foundations there. Each one of you guys, Wenshin, Alice, okay, you guys will be in here in 2 semesters, okay? Develop the sketch line drawings there. You develop those foundations here, right? The rest of you guys also the same thing. Before we're going to add some detail, because this is how actually we're going to figure it out how basically the proportion, the structures are going to be look like. We use all these kind of primitive shapes to develop from there. All right, don't worry about shadings too much there, okay? Worry about how you construct the line and stroke there first. And then when you play with some shadings, try to adjust first the flows there. Okay, use the very simple kind of minimal kind of flows. Okay, when you want to blend it your shadows there, right? Okay, using your kind of soft brushes, and change the size of the brushes according to the space that you want to shade there, right? Particularly right now, okay, if you really struggling enough basically to develop that kind of creativity, imaginations kind of drawings there, okay, like Agrina actually been working on right now, even though she know basically what she's doing there, okay, don't try to force yourself from there. Always, because you can develop a very good drawings without developing a different kind of character design from this illustration there, okay. One of the things that you have to remember, okay, some people say, okay, if I design a different characters, new characters, maybe the marks are going to be given if it more like a full marks. Okay, it doesn't mean that, guys. If you draw a different kind of character based on our reference, but they will look a bit more like not correctly been done, okay, you still not get a very good marks from there. Simple as that, because the criteria that you want to see from the evaluations is all based on your drawing strokes there, right? It's all based on your understanding there. If you don't provide the right kind of understanding to develop your kind of drawing strokes, whatever that you try to design that feels sure about what you do there, okay, they're not going to be given a very good kind of marks from there. Why? Because your drawings doesn't look correctly. You just want to try to design the new characters, but your drawings not correctly been done there, right? Okay, that's basically the worst part that people need to realize when they design them there, okay. I don't know whether I have this kind of reference with me right here right now. Try to take a look here, right? So I did not actually try to make some changes with all these kind of designs, okay? I don't want to basically take you guys some encouragement to work on that. All right. Please make sure that you guys can actually write. Make some of the changes from there, right? If you do want to make some changes, don't worry there, guys, okay? Okay, this is something that I want to share with you guys over here. Some of the common kind of what we call that mistake that we saw there, okay? Can you see here? Right, when people actually try to trace their drawings there based on the reference, this is what happens there, guys. This is something that we need to avoid it, guys, okay? Don't try to trace your drawing. This is about tracing there. This is not drawings there, right? So this is not the correct way for you guys to develop your skills, okay? Please don't do this kind of mistakes there, all right? So when you draw like this one, that means you trace them. Okay, you trace them, not draw on top of the layers there. Okay, this is some of the sample from your friend who did not basically using her abilities to develop that kind of drawing based on the character that she basically tried to develop back again according to the same reference there, guys. So you can see the quality of work that she did basically, right, okay, in order to develop her understanding there, right, okay. But she did basically a few number kind of illustrations that based on imaginations a bit there, right? But some of it, the proportion is not right over here, right? Okay, she tried to improve a bit more from there. And the hairline, she has to improve there, right? So that's why you need to understand your ability to work on that. But she still tried to develop kind of understanding by drawing exactly from those references. So it's good, basically good kind of practice over here, right? Okay? So work on that. So please work on that, guys. All right. So any questions, guys? Any kind of inquiries, okay? Or you want to update something, okay? Please update basically. No, only black and white, okay? Only grayscales there. Don't try to be what we call that, to enhance a bit more on our purpose here, okay? Because if you add colors, okay, one people add colors, everyone want to add colors there, and then becomes a bit kind of like Roja and Chinchai there, okay? Okay, I don't want to have this kind of what we call that kind of what we call the understanding there, okay, when it comes to develop your kind of exercise over here. Okay. Because to develop the grayscale kind of tones a bit more better, then you put some colors on that. Because if you want to add some colors there, okay, everyone should learn. You should basically apply the warm, cool, harmonized kind of color. It's really kind of difficult there, okay, for some people there, right? So I don't want to encourage from there. It doesn't mean that you don't learn colors there, okay? You don't actually improve your skill from here. All right. Every kind of developments works. It studies there, okay? It's all came from black and white. If you shoot photographies, right? If you learn to shoot photographies, right? Okay, you learn photographies kind of sessions. You need to learn also to shoot for into a black and white kind of photos there first before you're going to add a bit more kind of understanding on put so those kind of full colors kind of photographies there. Because in black and white we can see those depth of field, we can see the contrast, we can see some understanding on the element of those design at the same time there, right? Okay, all those kind of principle of design elements we can see in the grayscale kind of tone there, right? So colors basically is a part of the different kind of knowledge that you can bring over to your color theory kind of what we call that learning experience there. But it's a bit kind of complicated if you don't really study really well from there. That's why I try not to add a lot of color kind of theories right now directly. Focus a bit more further on the core foundations kind of skills here. Because if you have to play with some colors, you have to understand about the primary, secondary, tertiary colors there. Have you done this kind of exercise yet in your color theories? You need to understand about warm and cool colors that get at the same time there, okay, to work on that. Guys, if you want to draw your imaginations on our drawings, right, okay, just like what Adina actually done right now, right, okay, you need a lot of time to imagine them, okay? So that's why you have to know your level of skills there. Don't try to be hard enough on your imaginations if you don't have enough time to think about it, right, okay? Try to maintain yourself back again. Okay? Try to maintain basically what you have, improve on your drawings techniques. first, just like you saw one of your friends just now there, right? Who have done basically that kind of what we call that illustrations there. Okay, all right. All right, I have one samples there, okay, that I want to share with you guys over here. Okay, this is what from one of your friend. All right, just want to share you guys, okay, what are some of the what we call that mistake that people always do there, okay, when it comes to add some shadings there. If you take a look closely over here, right? So when she try basically to add some shadings over here, the line work also doesn't look correctly done, okay? She tried to add color, I don't know why, but I already actually what we call that raised to her basically, okay? Why actually she not supposed to do this kind of things there, okay? So try not to be smarter, okay? But it's going to be look worse for your presentations there, all right? Okay? So the shadows also look sloppy there, okay? It doesn't show basically the shadows kind of shapes from the reference there, right? Okay, so this is basically one of the mistakes there, one of the common mistake that people always do. People try to be smart to work for their works, okay, but it doesn't show anything that she's learned from here. All right. Okay, remember that, guys. Okay, don't waste your time to do something that you don't understand yet. Okay. But if you really, really want to develop basically your kind of skill, you want to test your illustration skills, all right? I would suggest for you guys to do whatever that I want there. Okay, they actually have done okay before. Let me see. Which is I think I have to share with her okay some of the drawings that her friend actually have done there. Because You guys need to wake up there, okay? Some of us really need to wake up there, right? All right. This is some of those. If you watch basically this kind of videos, basically, right, okay, I show basically some of the drawings, okay, from my sketchbooks, right, okay. Some of my illustrations kind of works, okay, previously there are works on that, right? So I did a lot of drawing exercise, okay, according to those client works, and also my kind of what we call that routine kind of works at the same time there, right? Okay, this is some of my sketches there, okay, from the previous kind of works, okay, from the clients there, right? All right, this one there, right, okay. If you really want to draw anime, manga kind of style, okay, do it on your own there first, right, okay, and practice themselves, okay. You're going to practice some colors there, okay, because at this stage, okay, when I actually did this kind of sketches there before, there, right, I don't have basically, we have the color studies there, but we don't actually, right, applying all this kind of anime, cartoon, manga, comic kind of stuff for our assignments there. So what I did basically, I do it basically all this kind of exercise on my own there, okay? I practice all this kind of color back again, but not from my assignments there. But I'm doing that during my time of my kind of first semester's kind of works there, okay? So I practice all these kind of drawings back again, okay? Not because of my assignments works. I'm doing because of those, my kind of interest that develop my skill from there. All right. Okay, guys. So you should basically, right, if you want to proceed yourself from there, do it more. If you have that kind of ability, yes, okay. If you don't have that kind of ability, okay, stand in your ground at first, all right? All right, guys. Any questions so far? Hopefully you guys, okay, I actually have been giving you guys basically some sort of like, some of clear kind of understanding from there. Yeah, most of it basically hand-drawn there, right, okay? I did not, okay? Most of it is hand-drawn there, okay? Because I really want to learn to develop basically my skill in various type of styles. Okay, that's why I actually have my kind of what we call times every midnight there, okay? I will spend my time there, okay, to practice all this kind of drawing back again. But of course, okay, at the time basically, right, okay, I try to combine the knowledge that I actually learned from what we call that learning to sketch without any erasers there, right, to control the pressures at the same time. I applying that back again to those comic styles there, okay? But, and then I clean up those lines. And of course, I did basically some of the dot kind of methods there, okay? Even though we not actually learn that entirely in our lessons there, in my lesson at the time there, okay? But I try to learn according to the different kind of methods, okay? Outside from my classroom there, okay? So that's basically how actually we can actually motivate ourselves. Don't say that, okay, you don't learn actually in a classroom, okay? You can actually learn outside there, okay? You can combine all these kind of methods together later on there, okay, to work on that. And this time and this year, basically, okay, this kind of what we call that eras there, okay, you have everything basically inside your kind of what we call that resources there. You have more resources that you can get from any kind of what we call that site or whatever that you want, okay? So whatever that we did in our classroom over here, in our lessons over here, right, it's all about the foundations there, fundamentals there, strong core foundation there. And then you actually can develop a bit more further from there. Remember, guys, if you want to add if you want me to add in each week's basically some intensive exercise, you won't be able to cope there, right? Because why? Because most of our intensive exercise that we did for face-to-face sessions, you guys need to put more extra commitment there. The commitment mirror game, 6 drawings not enough there, okay? You have to draw at least 10, 15 to 20 drawing each week. So that's why I try to minimize a little bit, but focus on the core kind of developments that first. Because you guys can see some of your friends just now, okay, when she tried to draw this thing, okay, it's really hard and pain to see this kind of drawings there, right? Why? Because why you have to put some colors there? The scratch line from those chairs also doesn't look right there, right? Okay, you just draw this kind of thing because you basically you feel good about what you want to do there, but they don't actually apply any kind of benefit from your skills. That's why you have to be careful with it there, right? Okay, you have to be careful with it there, right? Right. So you don't have any questions there, right? So thank you very much there, okay, for having my sessions over here, okay? And hope you guys have a clear idea how actually you're going to proceed your kind of understanding right now, all right? Understand to develop your skill first, okay? I know some of you guys still had the kind of struggling to develop the kind of understanding on developing your own skills here, okay? So please be more practical on yourself, okay, to work on that. So I'll see you guys on the next sessions. And thank you very much, guys, okay, for having today. And take care of yourself and have a good kind of what we call that weekend at the same times. I'll see you guys around in our sessions next week. All right, bye-bye.